Hello, Rabbi Manis Friedman. Thank God it's Tuesday for many reasons today.
Not just any Tuesday.
Yes. So thank God it's Tuesday, and this is a very special Tuesday. Every Tuesday is a very special Tuesday, but this Tuesday has been awaited by very many people, and a lot is at stake this Tuesday, and everyone is very, very nervous and worried. And the question then is obvious. Should we worry about the outcome of today's election?
Well, you can't help but worry if you're convinced that your candidate is the angel and the other candidate is the devil. There's never been such polarization, such extremism, fanaticism in politics. Religion used to have the exclusive rights on fanaticism. Now all of a sudden religious fanaticism is second fiddle. But I think it's really, really important that, of course, you have to vote for your candidate. But neither candidate is going to solve the world's problems. It's way too big for any individual. And no political party is going to solve the world's problems, or even the country's problems. To solve a country's problems, you need a little bit of a miracle, something beyond nature, something that can split the sea, or in our case, turn the tide from evil to good. So yes, you have to vote, and you have to pick your candidate carefully and morally and so on, intelligently, but vote for your candidate, trust in God, because that's the only real solution. Like anything else, we have to do the right thing. Will that change the world? It could. Doing the right thing can change the world, because the world reaches a tipping point where a little more goodness can tip the scales in positive direction, a little more evil can tip the scale into the negative. So yes, one good deed can make a difference. And voting your conscience and voting what you believe to be right and positive and good is good. But we need a bigger solution than ever before. I guess in a sense, we don't need better politics. We need an end to politics. Better politics would just be the lesser of two evils, because politics is not good. So you get the better candidate, so you have a less evil political system. But politics is bad news to begin with. So we need something better than politics. We need the rule of godliness. They call it the rule of law, which nobody follows. So we have to go out and vote seriously, take it seriously, but don't put your trust in politics. Put your trust in God. And that God will help the candidate that you choose, or whoever wins, God will help them miraculously turn the world around and make it a garden again, because now it's a jungle.
Rabbi Friedman, do you think that the war of good and evil is at this moment happening at this moment? And I do mean by the elections.
Well, it's a big part of it, of course. But it's the people, not the individuals. So it is the final showdown which we've been predicting for 2,000 years, that eventually there has to be a moral shootout in the OK Corral to determine who is the authority on morality. You can't have more than one. You can't. If there are two moralities, then there are two worlds, and those worlds will go to war. So the only way to put an end to all this suffering and misery is that there is one morality coming from one authority, and everyone accepts it. Then we can have a very good world. And we'll still need someone who will lead the way, who will unite the people in that morality. But it's the morality, the godliness that's going to save the day, not some political maneuverings. I think that's pretty obvious.
But do you think for now, today is a life-changing day for the world?
Whatever happens, the world will not be the same. But we've been talking about this for 3 years now. Every week, the world is not the same. Every month, there's a total shock to the system, and everything changes. I think the most dramatic in the recent time, the university presidents. We were saying for all these years that before Mashiach comes, there is a clarifying or sorting out of right and wrong, good and bad, whatever, and that good will come from unexpected places, and evil will come from unexpected places. Well, that the universities and the heads of the universities would be a source of evil? Who expected that? So the whole world, almost anybody you talk to, is undergoing a metamorphosis. I talk to religious people, and they realize they've been wrong. They've been elitists. They thought they would bring the solution to the world by themselves, which is childish and ignorant. And then you talk to the secular people, they're all religious now. Sounding religious. So who's who anymore? This is the necessary unscrambling of the confusion and the chaos before Mashiach comes. And it's boiling, it's cooking. So every month the world changed dramatically. But I think today, whichever way it goes, expect some more surprises. Big ones.
Rabbi Friedman, as you just said it, I got a little bit of a knot in my stomach, and I'm sure I'm speaking for the rest of our audience as well, because we are. I mean, I'm sure that everyone in the world, not just in America, woke up today, and we're all kind of holding our breath, and we're, whoever wants what kind of change and is betting on which candidate, it is. Today is a changing moment for everybody. And we worry. We can't not worry.
Yeah. But we know for sure God is running the world. I don't know if he's allowed to intervene in politics or in elections. But he does. And being optimistic is the only realistic way to go. I'll mention something about optimism. What exactly is optimism? You just don't care? You're that kind of person that doesn't take anything seriously, so you can be optimistic? No, that's not optimism. That's being a simpleton. Optimism means you're absolutely confident that the right thing will happen. The truth will prevail over the false. Now, in history, it doesn't seem like the truth always prevailed, because if it had, why would we be in this mess we are in today? So on the surface, it may not look like the truth is prevailing. But how could truth not prevail? It's the truth. So I thought, maybe it's like your best friend. Your best friend gets into trouble, messes up. You stay loyal. This is my friend, I stay with my friend. Optimism is like a friend. No matter what happens to the optimism, you stay loyal to it. Not when it's easy, when it's hard. When it's hard to stay loyal to your friend, because your friend has a bad reputation now and is in trouble now. And you might think, I better get away from this. I don't want to get dragged down with my friend. But you don't do that. You stay loyal. So being optimistic is really like a loyalty to the truth. Loyalty like to the best friend. Or to a family member, So, does it make sense to be optimistic? Not only does it make sense, it's a moral obligation. If you're not optimistic, it means you've lost your faith in the truth. That's not good in any way. If you stay loyal to your optimism, you're doing the right thing, and you're doing the true thing. How it's going to play itself out? There are times when God is very mysterious, but it's still Him being mysterious. So that's what optimism means. Optimism means we're not going anywhere until the world becomes perfect. That's inevitable. That must happen. It is happening. We would like to see it happen more obviously, more clearly, in a more revealed, unmasked form. And I'm optimistic that that's what's going to happen. Things will become so much more clear. The dust will settle, the rain will be gone, and we will see clearly now.
Rabbi Friedman, but still, that element that we cannot give up, that element that's called worry. I mean, basically, we wake up with that element. We go through the day with that element. That element is present in every aspect of our life. It doesn't let go for a second. And then we go to sleep with that element. This is something that became our constant state in this day and age. Is it a healthy thing? Is it something that could be a driving force, or is it something that is actually not good for us?
It could be a motivator. It can. It is. I'm sure it is. I think more people will vote this time around than ever before because of that. But that doesn't mean you're not optimistic. The Rebbe once told someone who was worried about his health, the Rebbe said, "It's fine. It's fine." And the man said, "Yeah, but I worry." The Rebbe said, "There's nothing to worry about. It's going to be fine." And he said, "But the Rebbe, you know I'm going to worry." That's just what I do. And the Rebbe said, "Worry, don't worry. Won't make any difference. It's going to be fine." And that's an important thing. We worry, we don't worry. That's not going to change anything. Our trust is, our optimism is, it's going to be fine. Whether I do or don't worry is neither here nor there. So if you have to worry, so worry, but it's going to be fine. And you can have both.
Rabbi Friedman, so much work has been done prior to this elections by both parties. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of outreach, a lot of people involved, a lot of things took place. Does any of it actually make a difference? Or has everything been predetermined and we're just keeping ourselves busy?
That's the old question of divine providence versus free choice. Divine providence will take us where we chose to go. But the divine providence can either protect us from our bad choice or make our good choice succeed. So voting or choosing is an expression of who we are. Maybe even an extension of who we are. So yes, that matters and that counts. Will that determine the outcome, the future, the fate of our country? No. No, the fate of the country is in God's hands. But whose country is it? Good people or bad people? That's up to us. That's why you have to vote your conscience, not your candidate. It's terrible that we're voting candidates. Nobody really cares what's behind the candidate. We just have a candidate. That's... Somebody says they want to lower the voting age. I think you have to raise it. I mean, only people over 70 should be allowed to vote.
Why?
Because they're a little more mature. A little. They've been around the block a few times. So it's not the candidate. It's what's behind the candidate. You're voting your conscience, not your celebrity. I hope that's what people are doing. So, vote the candidate, but look past the candidate to what's behind the morals, the principles, the goodness, the honesty. And even after that, put your trust in God, not in princes or princesses.
Rabbi Friedman, you just said vote on values, vote on what's behind the candidate. But with that glaze that we have going on right now, and
is there anything behind the candidate?
How can we, everybody is saying something, and some of those things sound very good to us. And I hope that that's what people are voting for. But is that the truth? How do we know where the good is, where the honest is? Who can we trust? That is probably the biggest question, because everybody is saying more or less the same thing with slight exceptions. But how do we know who is speaking the truth and who is not?
Well, if we're voting our conscience, then we're doing the best we can do. And we're doing the right thing. If the fake news has misled us and we don't know what the candidates actually stand for, what are we supposed to do about that? You can't blame us for that. But if you're voting conscience, then you're doing what you're supposed to do. That's how the system works. That's what democracy is all about. That's what morality is all about. If it turns out you made the wrong choice, but you did it innocently, you did it responsibly. If you're just voting for a candidate, then you have many more regrets because you didn't do the right thing. But if you chose the person you thought was the better moral, so on, then you've been responsible and you've done the right thing. The rest, how are we to know? And it's the same like a marriage. You marry a good person. You marry a responsible person. You marry a godly person. Is it possible you made a mistake and he's none of the above? It happens. But you did the right thing. You don't know everything. You're not infallible. You can make a mistake. But your intentions were good. You were on the right track. You were doing the right thing. You have fewer regrets or conscience.
Then, of course, the question is, if there's going to be a mistake in accordance to someone, and there is going to be a mistake in accordance to someone, because not everybody is on the same page after regarding today's outcome, what they're hoping for. How should one conduct himself or herself after finding out that it's not what they had hoped for?
So 2 things. If your candidate doesn't win, what do?
Get upset.
Go on a rampage. Break into stores and steal some Nike shoes.
That could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. It already happened. Many times. Even after your team wins, they go on a riot and loot stores. Imagine if the team lost. Anyway, that's why vote your conscience, vote for your candidate, vote for what they stand for. But even after all of that, trust God. So if your candidate wins, it's because God decided that that's how it should be. And if he loses, it's because God decided that that's how it should be. So either way, your trust has not been violated, because you never put your trust in the political system. You put your trust in God. You do your duty concerning the political system, which is to vote for the best candidate. So do your duty, place your trust in God, because only God knows what he's doing. Only God knows that he is the only one who knows.
Rabbi Friedman, we're in Parsha Lech Lecha right now, where Abraham is having so many tests, even though he is a good man and he loves God and he wants to do everything that God wants of him. But he is having so many tests, 10 to be exact. And all of them are very hard. And I'm sure if we were in his shoes right now, we wouldn't think that we're being tested right now. So, of course, the question is about a test. Everything that we have been enduring in the last, especially 4 years, can we look at it as a test? Or how should we view this last 4 years? Because a lot of hard things have happened, a lot of revelations that are still hard to fathom, and every day is a challenge for a lot of people. How should we view this period of time in our lives?
Well, the great thing about Avraham is he didn't notice that he was being tested. He must have read about it. He read about it in the Torah. Oh, really? I was tested? How was I supposed to know? So, for example, he goes to war against 4 kings, 4 armies to rescue his nephew. Was that a test? It was his nephew, and he had to go rescue him. So he went. So he took on 4 armies with 300 men.
And won.
And won. And that's because he didn't think it was a test. He just needed to do the right thing. So he did. And his trust in the right thing was absolute. And when you have that kind of conviction and that kind of courage, you always win. You always win. The loser is always the one who harbors the doubts. Doubt weakens you. If you're doubtful, you've already lost the battle. So the real challenge, if we're going through tests like Avraham, a testing of what? Of our honesty? Of our love? I think it's a test of our optimism. There's nothing else we could have done about COVID. There's nothing else we could do about the environment. There's nothing else we can do about the war in Ukraine. There's nothing we can do about the Middle East. What are we regretting? Oh, I should have solved that problem. Which problem? What are you going to solve? The only thing you could have done is you could have been optimistic. So the challenge is, can we stay optimistic when things look chaotic? And it's not easy. It's a test. But in the end, those who are optimistic will have nothing to regret. And those who are not optimistic will have some nervous symptoms from all that worry. Unnecessary. Unnecessary. We have to do what we have to do. Not because we're worried, but because it's the right thing to do. And the right thing is always right.
So, Rabbi Friedman, just to simplify your message a little bit for myself, first and foremost. So, you're optimistic in everything you do, and you go for whatever needs to be done. However, if the outcome is not as you have hoped for, you stay optimistic no matter what. Now, that second part is a little bit harder to come by.
I keep saying that that's what it should be, trying to convince myself.
You too?
But that's what we need to do. When things don't look so good, we need to remind ourselves. Optimism is the correct way. It is the only way. You can't win if you're not optimistic. You can't. People say, oh, you got to be realistic. No, you don't. Because what's real right now in front of our eyes is evil. Why do you want to be part of that? Realistic doesn't mean surrender to evil. Realistic means evil will go. The truth will remain. So what's realistic? But we have to remind ourselves because, gravity pulls us down and we have to go up.
Rabbi Friedman, unfortunately, what everybody worries about the most these days is that not everyone sees the evil. And this is exactly what we see right now in these elections, that not everyone sees the evil. Some people are still partners with the evil, and they're good people. They just don't realize it. So I think this is the scariest moment of our time, that not everybody is on the same page.
But they will be by the end of the day. That's exactly what is happening in these 3-4 years. The evil is becoming more and more obvious so that no one can deny it anymore. That's the process. In other words, evil has to prove itself evil, and then it's finished. That is what's going on, and I think the elections will take us a giant step forward in that direction.
Amen. Thank you so much. That sounds wonderful and very optimistic. Rabbi Friedman, regardless, I think we need a little bit more to give people a little bit more of a tool of how to pick up after a disappointment, how to do it as quickly as possible, because some people will be disappointed. I'm sure from our listeners right now, there's not one-sided people who are listening to this program who definitely want good and trying to do good, but realistically someone is going to be disappointed for sure.
Devastated.
Okay.
Devastated. We're investing way too much into this election. So again, do your thing, vote. Do the American thing, but don't worship. Don't worship. We have only one God, and that's enough. We don't need to worship anyone or anything else. That's the danger. It's become too worshipful. And if you're disappointed, it's like you believed in God and all of a sudden he disappeared. That would be too devastating. So don't put your trust in things that are not permanent. We never did, and that's why we're still here.
Rabbi Friedman, but God forbid, I'm going to say two things. God forbid, I'm going to play the devil's advocate. God forbid the evil prevails today. God forbid. That's a very scary proposition.
Yes, but it only means that the answer will come through the back door, not through the front door.
You're going to have to explain this one a little bit better.
And we think we know the answer. Our candidate will solve the problem. Maybe not. But if our candidate doesn't solve the problem, then what? The world is going to blow itself up? No, it won't. It's God's world, and he allows us to tamper with it up to a point, but when it gets too dangerous, he just steps in and doesn't allow us to destroy his world. So how is God going to make his world better at the end of this day? I think I know, you think you know, but let's not put all our marbles in a human being. So whatever is going to happen, it'll be part of God's plan, and God's plan is the world is going to get better. If he has some trick up his sleeve that he can make the world better with the wrong candidate, well, then he's really God. that would be only he could do that. You're going to make the world better with this one? So we think we know, and we have to vote according to what we know. But we know that we don't know enough. We certainly don't know everything. So even as we vote our conscience, we realize it's really up to God. I'm just trying my best, but I can't say I'm right.
Rabbi Friedman, then the obvious question, I have to go back to this one. Then how much does really depend on us? Does anything depend on us?
Well, God will give us Mashiach in a way that we can accept it and that we can understand it. So where our minds are, where our hearts are, makes a huge difference. But either way, or any which way, it's going to happen. But it'll happen in our language, in our ability to imagine and to deal with good news. So the good news will come, and the question is, how much good news can we tolerate? If we can tolerate more, we'll get more. If we can tolerate less, we'll get less. So God will feed us, but it depends on our appetite. So if we're in the right frame of mind and we really want the ultimate godliness, then that's what we'll get. If we want just an improved world, well, that's what we'll get. If we just want to win this contest, that's all you're going to get. So the way the people go, that's the way God takes us. So if we raise our standards, we get more. Lower your standards, you get less. But it will all lead in the right direction. So we're hoping for the big one, for the ultimate correction that will need no further correcting, no fine-tuning.
Rabbi Friedman, I'm just really hoping it's not just the two of us here. I hope we're all on the same page on this one, because I know that a lot of people are actually not thinking to that final great step that will take us where we need to go. Everybody's still right here in the elections and who's going to win, who's going to be the next president of the United States, which will affect, of course, the rest of the world.
Beginning with us. And the danger cuts both ways. If your candidate wins and you go crazy, it's not good. If your candidate loses and you go crazy, it's not good for anybody. That's why we need to know, yes, it's a big election and it's a very dangerous election and whatever they say about it is true. But don't exaggerate it. It's just an election. It's just a candidate. It's just the President of the United States. And you know how insignificant that is? We've had a president for 4 years who didn't know what he was doing. So if you become president, it means you're going to solve problems. Let's not put our hopes in princes. We've been told this many times by God, and we've learned the hard way that you cannot trust princes, even the nicest of princes. So we got to caution ourselves and others. Vote for your candidate by all means, and convince everybody else to vote for your candidate. Don't worship. Don't become religious about this. Otherwise, it's not going to be healthy. It's already not healthy. Like you say, people have lost already too much sleep over this. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It all comes down to worship. Are you worshiping God or are you worshiping idols? That has always been the issue. Are you on the side of God or are you not? It's not the candidate. It's what's behind them. So, it's exciting. I know it's going to change the world. I know it's going to change the world for the better. And the question is only, better is what you think is better, or better is what the other party thinks is better. My better or your better.
Rabbi Friedman.
But all we want is better.
Absolutely.
If it's not my candidate, that's fine. Like somebody said, do you think Mashiach is going to be an Ashkenazi or a Sephardi? I said, don't do that. He's going to be Mashiach. What more do you want?
Yeah. Rabbi Friedman, amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for this wisdom, encouragement, direction, light that you have been able to infuse into our airwaves in the last 40 minutes. We really, really appreciate it. And everybody out there, I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone, thank you so, so much. And I got to tell you, I cannot wait for the topic of next week. I don't know what it is.
I was just going to say, we have to wait a whole week.
Yeah, but very, very exciting. Hope it's going to be good news, and hope everybody is going to be happy about making the world better together.
It's going to be good news. I hope everyone will agree. But it will be good news.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
See you in the new world tomorrow.
Yes. Till then, thank you so much.